Hello and welcome to Fantasy Focus Football alongside Michael Clay and Field Yates. My name is Daniel Dopp. Excited to bring you another day diving into the fantasy streets. But first and foremost, I just want to say hi to my two friends. How you guys doing?
Excellent, Michael.
I'm good. I woke up this morning, got ready to go, came to campus, and I see this friendly face on Get Up this morning talking fantasy football and NFL coverage, and that means we're right around the corner. I mean, it doesn't mean that because he's always on TV.
Yeah, that is sort of the thing. I think
year-round coverage. That's a compliment.
Did you get an invite to that as well? Or
I did not get an invite.
It must have got lost in the Ethernet email.
I don't think so.
Ethernet email?
Yeah, in the ethers of the email.
Oh, ethers. Yeah. Question for you guys. You guys still adjusting? And this is probably a question to like the majority. Many people listen to this right now. I can't figure out Microsoft Teams. So if anybody out there right now, which is a new thing at ESPN, if anybody out there knows a thing about Microsoft Teams and wants to get me up to speed, please let me know. Because when you were talking about Ethernet email, I was like, is that a Microsoft Teams feature? Because I can't figure out a freaking thing about this stuff.
Yeah, we made the switch over, and so it's definitely a little bit of something to get used to. I definitely feel like, Mike, you should be good at it. I feel like you're good at all things technology, seeing as how you're half computer anyway.
I mean, it's just a messaging thing, so I don't. It's pretty intuitive. I don't.
Okay. Oh, got it. Wow.
At this point.
Okay.
Like if you need some Excel tips, I got you. We've consulted on that in the past. I'm happy to help you with that, but. Teams, I mean, man, all you got to do is type messages in to people and press enter. That's all you got to do.
Okay, well.
That seems.
Here's Mike Clay bragging about how the fact that he guzzles 30-ounce margaritas one weekend and then he can. What the heck is AIM?
Do you not have AIM back in the day? AOL Messenger?
AOL Instant.
Are you too young for that?
Of course I did. I put away messages up.
What was your
Nope.
handle?
Nope.
FMY5OSU. I was a big Ohio State fan growing up.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Mine was just mClay8823, which I use for my email and everything.
I think mine was Dop238. 238 is one of my favorite bands.
It sounds like that's not true. I think that's your.
That was
your burner.
That was not my burner. That was my actual one. My burner was the other one, obviously.
But last thing before we tell people about the
some
New York
upcoming
show,
things. Yeah.
When you said one of my favorite bands is 238, I swear to God, Daniel, you could literally say any three words in succession is one of my favorite bands, and I'd believe you.
Yes, if I said. And They Will Know You by the Trail of the Dead is one of my favorite bands, right? Like that's
God, I loved their third album. They're
so good.
Yeah, their third album was amazing.
Dumpster Fire Explosion, that was my favorite back in the day.
Drive-By Truckers, of course, yeah. Right. I would love to do a game where I just give you 4 random names and you tell me which one isn't a band.
Is this the last name of an offensive lineman or a band or something?
That would be good. That would be a lot of fun.
The Beatles, name of a band, yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, confirm.
No, it's Steve Beatle.
That's what it is.
Carolina Panthers.
Is that? I would love it if that was actually true. If you pulled that out of your head,
we could do this.
We got to bring the Cole Father and
at the wrong
back.
time.
Yes, we are
time for this.
Well, let's tell the people about New York City because just in case you do not have plans for Thursday, last-minute tickets are still available. Thursday, August 7th at the Gramercy Theater in New York City. Go to fantasyfocuslive.com for info and tickets. You get free food. You get drinks. You get some merch. You get to hang out with us. There's a Q&A at the end. We'll do a big meet and greet. You can get some photos. It's only $35, so come hang out with us in New York City. It's going to be a ton of fun. But Mike Clay, that's not the only place that we are going this year.
No, it's not. We're going to the Bahamas.
Yes!
Here at Baja Mar. Again, that was the greatest couple days we had all last summer.
Unbelievable.
And I don't know, obviously are you reading this?
Sure, the ESPN Fantasy Football Ultimate Draft Weekend back for year 2 from August 21st to the 24th in the Bahamas. Enjoy an oceanfront stay at the luxurious Baja Mar Resort and exclusive events like our one-of-a-kind beach combine. Mingle with celebrity guests and NFL players throughout the weekend, including Todd Gurley, Golden Tate. Golden Tate made it into the Playbook I saw when you were writing it, so he's going to be there as well. Hall, Kyle Rudolph, as well as the Nice Man League. In case you want to get a hold of them, they're going to be there to hang out with us again. Then get insights from your favorite ESPN fantasy football experts before drafting your squad at our epic live draft party.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, what was really fun about this, and I don't know if everyone realizes this coming to this, is like we are mostly just hanging out. Like we'll hang out in the pool.
We're around.
Go to dinner. Like, so if you come, we'll just hang out. And
we're just
time. Whether you want to or not.
What you did last year?
Yeah.
Mostly.
That's mostly what we did. I mean, yeah, you were only gone for a few hours.
My arm was hanging out. Yes.
Yeah, still, you came back and you hung out. We had a great time with everyone. It was awesome to meet everyone, just talk ball and just, have some drinks, eat dinner. It was great. So that was the best part for me, just mingling and making new friends.
Probably not a good idea. It's probably a terrible idea, as a matter of fact. So I'm not guaranteeing anything there here. But if there was ever a time where I made an absolutely dramatic call and it came to fruition, if I was I think that, I don't know, Jalen Naylor is going to lead all Vikings wide receivers in catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns this year.
Cut that.
And then it actually came to be. As in a moment of excitement where I felt like I was on top of the world, I might drop some of the content from when I was coming out from having my shoulder relocated.
Oh, just then you have an excuse.
And some of the stuff was still in the system.
Yeah.
The stuff that they give you to put you to sleep. Because, God, there is some gold in there.
There is some good
you
clips.
Did come back from the hospital and go right to that Q&A. And I believe someone asked us about Dante Miller, the fifth string running back for the Giants. I believe Field said he was going to lead the NFL in rushing, right?
It was probably something like that. We were all a little tipsy, I believe, at that point. But
maybe.
Something was going on. Well, listen, we're going to have a ton of fun. Go check it out. And by the way, you don't have to bring your entire league. Just bring yourself. We'll put you in a league. We'll find a bunch of people for you to be able to draft with. We'll go through, have a ton of fun with you. Like Mike said, we're just hanging out the whole time. Come up, mingle with us. We'll find some fun things to do down there.
Can't wait.
Sure.
Cannot wait.
All right. We are going to dive into Mike Clay's playbook. But first, before we do that, and I'm going to have you explain everything that the playbook is, Mike, we're going to take a quick break for a word from our new sponsor. It starts with a clean scalp and ends with something more. Oh, that's so bold. Because fantasy greatness isn't rinsed off, it's restored. Silky smooth. Even when the season gets messy, your hair stays nourished. Run those fingers through your hair. Powered by our patented fantasy formula to promote strength, stamina, and follicular dominance. Field & Shoulders. Because moisture is the essence of wetness, and wetness is the essence of beauty. What? Shout out to Field & Shoulders for sponsoring today's show.
We needed that money. Look, we'll take any money we can get. So we'll take it.
That's incredible. Where does that retail at?
That was so much fun. And you can get it anywhere that you find normal shampoo. Field, honestly, this people were saying in the chat, I just want to say this. When Field came back with his hair, he just loves running his fingers through his hair. Those are all different cuts of you just playing with your hair. And
why would he not?
Of course, when you got a mane like this, you got to touch it.
I mean, maybe I am just playing with my hair and not realizing it, but I always feel like there's a couple flyers that are starting to fall off. So I end up
you just got to put them back, right?
Listen, I cut my hair 5 days before the show returned, and I took off a couple of inches. Prior to that haircut, hair was not flying. It was long enough that it was just folding back. Now, with Halloween less than 3 months around the corner, it will be growing back. Because I got a lot of inspiration for Halloween.
Ooh.
Okay. Some say that I may have had the best Halloween costume in the history of Fantasy Focus when I dressed up as Gardner Minshew a few years ago.
Some have said.
Others also made fun of me because I have hairy legs, but that's neither here nor there. I'm trying to up the ante this year.
I like it.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I'm glad the bar's set now because I got to start thinking about it.
I know. Now we got to get on our A game.
Yeah,
for what it's worth, when we did that, that's not the same clip, run three times in a row. Those were 3 different times that you did that. It just looked the same every time.
We need a counter. We hire someone just to count.
I had a ton of fun with our producer, Tyler, just being able to put that together. So hopefully you guys had a little bit of fun with that. Go check out Field & Shoulders anywhere that you buy shampoo.
You know what happens now, though, right? Is because it's been planted into my brain.
You're going to think about it all day.
And I'm going to do it nonstop.
That's right.
There. All right. So, hey, welcome into Fantasy Focus Football.
2 hands. We're 2 hands
along with Mike Clay and Daniel Dopp. I'm Field Yates. And here we go, 58 minutes later. Thanks for watching us here on Fantasy Football Now.
No, it's going to get in your head now. You're going to go like this and you're going to,
oh, shoot.
Yeah. That's like when people, you know what that is for me? That's when people point out my weird words I say from growing up in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania. There's like use guys, stuff like that.
Yeah.
People point that stuff out, and then I become self-aware of it, and then
you're like,
I catch myself.
Yeah. You're not allowed to say Yinzer anymore, Mike. That's how that works.
Wait, you're not a Yinzer, are you, though? Yinzer's Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah. That's not one that's in my
vocabulary.
Yeah, mine's just worse. I just say dumb words that don't make sense.
Use guys.
Use guys is the
big
that's
one.
the main one when I went to college where people were like, "What are you saying? Like,
Yeah.
stop it."
It's like, you're not. What are you doing here, Mike?
Yeah.
You guys want to
Not
go
the
check
coal
out the frat party? Use guys.
Use guys.
Yes. Yeah.
Frat party.
I feel like that
Right.
gets you an
Bush parties.
instant invite to the frat party when you say use guys. All right.
man, here we
That was
go.
a ton of fun. Hope you had fun with that. We may bring it back at the end of the episode. We'll see. But Mike Clay, we are delivering the Claybook, as we call it. It is affectionately known, though, as the Playbook. Give me a rundown on all the things that the Playbook is, because you wrote it, and I read it last night, and it took me like 45 minutes because there's a lot of words
Don't
in
tell
there.
people that. No one's gonna read. No one has the attention span for 45 minutes.
I'm a
these
slow
days.
reader. I'm a slow reader.
Now listen, Daniel, like me, hasn't read a book in a decade.
Exactly.
So we go through them at a glacial pace.
Okay. Well, it used to be longer. I'll start with that. We used to do this gigantic article, but this year we broke it into 3 pieces. So part 1 of the playbook is the draft, how to attack the draft. I go through each of the 4 positions, which we'll do here shortly with general draft strategy. Part 2 is going to be out in a few days, actually, which is going to be different types of leagues. This is mostly like your normal season-long leagues. But then we're going to do like if you're in Dynasty, if you have a rookie draft, IDP, whatever it may be, best ball. And then part 3 will be out later this month, which is in season. So waivers, trades, like how to attack that kind of stuff. So we broke into 3 this year for you.
So that
So
it
you
wasn't
could
quite
just-
so long.
Yeah, break it up into pieces. But yeah, part 1 has been out for a few days, and this is the attacking the draft.
It was really great being able to read through it. You kind of went through position by position and then also talked about some strategy in there. So let's just sort of start at the top, if you don't mind, Mike, because we kind of mentioned this a little bit yesterday when we were talking about quarterbacks. Field and I were tiering them. We had 5 guys in our tier 1, but you were pretty definitive that you have 4 tier 1 quarterbacks. Talk to me about how you are approaching the big 4.
Yeah, so I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but if you look at, in the article, I kind of comp the top 6 quarterbacks from last season because you had Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Jaden Daniels, of course, so I view as the big 4 this year, but also Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield. In terms of points per game, they were all at 20.9 or higher last year. So the question this year is then, okay, so you have the big 4. Why do I not feel as good about Burrow and Mayfield? And you guys tend to agree, certainly, about Mayfield. And it really comes down to the floor you get from rushing. Last year, the big 4, Burrow and Mayfield combined for 579 yards and 5 touchdowns rushing last year.
Combined.
The big 4 averaged 741 yards and 9 touchdowns. They averaged. They were all at 531 on the ground and 6 touchdowns minimum. So that just shows you kind of the floor you get from that rushing ability with those guys. The reason last year that Mayfield and Burrow were able to hang was because they both threw 40 passing touchdowns. And here's a stat I was referring to. I was trying to pull from the back of my brain yesterday. Only 7 quarterbacks in league history have reached 40 passing touchdowns more than once. None have done it more than 3 times. So what are the odds Burrow and Mayfield are going to do it again? Even if you think there's a good chance for Burrow to get close, I mean, he has to get there.
Right.
He has to get there to hang with these guys. So
16.94888 repeating is the percentage.
Oh, that's right.
That's what it is.
That's no.
I don't need a computer. I just do clay math.
It's much lower than that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the
much lower
justification.
than-
Yeah. And that's why we, even a guy like Justin Fields, who maybe we'll mention here in a second, is appealing as a back end QB1. He might not have quite the passing ability or just the passing skill or the overall ability that the big 4 has. But what you can do with your legs is such a difference maker. And that's why I feel like it's a big 4 this year and then a tier down to the other guys.
Interesting.
Yeah. We talked about this with tiers, is that like one of the reasons why I believe firmly in tiers is not just because like we think the guys represent relatively close value, but it also means for me that like I have Lamar Jackson as quarterback 1, you have Josh Allen as quarterback 1. Like if you put me in court and made me argue for Josh Allen, it would be a very easy case to take on. So I'm not going to dispute this majorly. My belief in Joe Burrow is that he's A, Joe Burrow, and B, the defense looks absolutely terrible on paper once again with their best player, really their only established star player on defense, Trey Hendrickson, currently waiting for a new contract that might be a situation that lingers into the season. Game script should be. And by the way, Mike, you remind us all the time, pass heaviest team in the league.
Yes.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention that too, because we have seen teams, and I think the Chiefs are a great example of this, or the Bills, that were recently extremely pass-heavy offenses, and we're like, this isn't cutting it for our chances to win a Super Bowl. We have to protect our defense and slow the game down and maybe avoid some of that too high and run the ball. The Bengals could do that. I mean, that's something that is in the back of my mind.
So you think?
A little bit. I mean, I'm not saying a massive swing, but enough that it brings down that passing a little bit, a couple pass attempts a game.
Fair enough.
So it's just something to think about. When it's often like if you're projecting the extreme, that's usually it usually doesn't work out, right? You usually want to avoid the extreme. So if you're betting on them being the pass heaviest offense in the NFL, you have to, at least in the back of your mind, rein it in a little bit because that could change. That kind of stuff changes. We never thought that with the Chiefs. We never thought that with the Bills, and that's exactly what happened.
There's a big difference between Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield when you're talking about those two guys. Just when I look at the offenses, like over the offseason, obviously Joe Burrow got T. Higgins back. Still has Jamar Chase. Chase Brown is a great pass catching running back. Offense basically stays intact in field. You mentioned the defenses. It just feels like they're going to have to throw a lot. Feels like Baker just has more question marks. If you draft him that high.
Maybe. I mean, I think the skill guys, they might have the best receiver room in the NFL. I think those two are the teams. Actually, I just filed an article about this. Who's the best receiver room in the NFL? Certainly with a healthy Chris Godwin, I think you can make a strong case for the Buccaneers with Evans.
Do we know when that will be, though?
Jalen McMillan? Well, I don't know. That's why I didn't put them first. I put them
I would say this about Tampa, though, is that I don't believe Cincinnati has a clear and obvious pathway to a capable enough defense that they start to play a bunch of lower scoring games. Tampa could get there. It's a much weaker division they play in. On top of that, they did spend a lot this offseason to try to get that defense right. Can I ask two questions? And if either of the questions is going to appear in a subsequent portion of the Playbook, you can say pass.
Okay.
I think
I
think the big question with the quarterbacks, whether you think it's a 4-man tier or a 5-man tier, when are you taking them? That to me is the question.
Yes.
Back end of round. Let's talk 10-team leagues here. Back end of round 2 too early.
Back end of round 2 is, and we saw that yesterday. We did that mock draft.
Yep.
It was a 12-teamer yesterday. I was at the 2-3. Turned out Brock Bowers somehow got to me, so I had to pounce on him, and I took Ladd McConkey over one of the big four.
Yep.
You can make the case, certainly. I want one of the big four. I think that's kind of the problem with picking at early in the draft is it's hard to pull the trigger on one of those quarterbacks at the 2-3 turn. But once we get midway into the third round.
25 is where I start to feel a little more comfortable personally. 25th overall. And for me, by the way, so my rankings, my top 100 will be out soon, which will rank across positions, not just, hey, here's quarterback 1, et cetera. I think my ranking of Lamar Jackson, who is my quarterback 1, will be a little bit lower than 25th overall. But when you're ranking players overall, you're not accounting for draft position. So if you're picking 5th in a 10-team league and you have that 25th pick, and you're concerned that if I don't take Lamar and he's your preferred QB1 at 25, he probably won't be there at 35. So I understand if he goes a little bit higher than my overall rank.
Yeah, I have them ranked 28 through 31, the big four, because I don't really care about the order. I have found myself at times finding my way to Jalen Hurts like at the end or maybe even early in the 4th, sometimes late in the 3rd, because he's generally the one that goes 4th out of the 4, which I'm fine with. But yeah, that's usually, I usually want to be in a position where you guys were yesterday, where you're just like, okay, there goes Lamar, there goes Allen. Oh, I'm up. I'm going to take Jaden.
Right.
That's the position I would be really comfortable being in. Watch one or two go and then pounce.
Someone else started the run, and then I get to take on, and you jump on the back end. So, Mike, if you had like one big, do you have anything else you want to add?
I have one more question.
Okay, go ahead. Do your question first.
I feel like every year we kind of like the quarterback depth, in part because you only play one of them. So if there are 17 reasonable quarterback options going into the season, that's 7 more than you need to start in a 10-team league. If you agree with the idea that there are pretty good quarterback options beyond the first, maybe even second tier, are there 2 guys that maybe are going round 10 or beyond, or just a little bit lower in your quarterback rankings that you still see a pretty good pathway for?
Yeah, I think when I mentioned Justin Fields, when he's out there, what was he, QB6 last year when he played before he got benched? So I think he's one. I have his ADP right now across the industry about the 10th round. So
quarterback play in New York Jets training camp has been pretty interesting so far.
Yeah,
sounds like.
Yeah.
Because of the passing attack is, it might be much more of a Garrett Wilson conversation than it is a Justin Fields conversation, because Tyrod Taylor is the backup. I don't think he's like this major threat, because if you're the Jets, I think you need to see through whether Justin Fields can be a medium-term answer, whereas Tyrod Taylor is just a solid backup. But it does not sound like the passing offense is inspiring much confidence right now.
Yeah, his and I'll say this is why the rushing matters. So I'm looking at last year, those 6 games he played, he threw for 1,100 yards and 5 touchdowns through the air, and he was QB8.
Yeah,
or his points per game would have ranked QB8 over the full season.
Sure.
So that shows you what he can do. I mean, he might be the best, let's say, the most statistically productive running quarterback on a per game basis in the league right now. I mean, when he's up there. I mean, his numbers are
I'm doing clay math right now.
I mean, he has missed a lot of games, whether it's been benching or injury. Yeah. And his first 3 years in the league, he was top 5 in rushing yards all those years.
That's incredible.
All that missed time, which is unreal. So I think he's one. I hear what you're saying, though. I am worried about the passing attack being good, but I don't know if it matters for him to be. But
that's
top
the
10.
question: is there a leash this year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the risk with him. But where you're taking him, it's fine. I mean, you just want him on a per game basis. So that's the reason I'm not even higher on him. If I knew he was going to play every game, I would have him higher in my rankings.
Yep.
Mike, when you're looking at these, just to put a bow on the quarterback situation, do you have like a main takeaway from the playbook that you're specifically saying, like, when I'm looking at the big four, this is how I feel about it?
I mean, the main takeaway is target one of the big four. If you don't get them, I'm okay. Maybe around later on Burrow. And then after that, I'm probably waiting, because kind of to finish answering your question as well, as it's a lot of the same after that. I think from Mahomes and Baker down, when you get into Purdy, Caleb's obviously a breakout. Herbert, Prescott, Drake May we like as a potential breakout this year. I love J.J. McCarthy. That would be my other answer. I think just based on what we've seen from Kevin O'Connell offenses and the supporting cast he has, I think he's an outstanding late round flyer. But you can go, I mean, outside my top 20 at C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Cameron Ward, Michael Penix, Bryce Young. I mean, Geno Smith.
Hey, hold on now. Wait a minute.
Does he not like Cam?
His name's Cameron Ward. That was an official NFL press release. Cameron Ward. They changed his name officially to Cameron Ward
rather than Cam Ward.
I can't call him Cam.
I mean, I'm sure you can, but I mean, there's a reason that was.
Oh,
there's a reason that was on the. You read the transaction wire, right? That was on there.
Yeah, but okay.
I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but I don't know. That's why we call him Cameron. And
I'm getting ahead of this. I think Cam still plays. We don't call him Tet McMillan. It's Teteroa.
Teteroa.
Okay,
that I didn't know.
Teteroa. Mrs. McMillan does not like Tet, so if Mom doesn't like
Teteroa,
it, then we stay away from Tet. So we're calling him Teteroa McMillan.
I haven't seen Mr. Ward say like that he doesn't like Cam, but I did notice that there was an official NFL change to his name, not Cam Ward. He's Cameron Ward. So that's what I've been. Okay. That's what I list him as in our.
It's kind of like the same thing that we had with Bijan, right? Obviously, learning that we got to say it a little bit differently. Mike, speaking of Bijan Robinson, though, let's talk about some running backs.
Hey,
next position up here. When you're looking in the playbook, what was the big thing, the big takeaway here in the playbook you want to make sure we know about?
Yeah, so I think it's I feel like this has been going on for a couple of years now, but it's that kind of battle of, do you go with these proven veteran running backs? Some got it done last year, some didn't, or do you pivot to these young guys that they're coming up? Especially the rookie class this year. I mean, you could fade running back and go R.J. Harvey and Caleb Johnson, and maybe you end up fine, or Travion Anderson. You can go on and on, Amari and Hampton. So that's kind of the tricky thing. You know, I did mention this yesterday. The average age of a top 15 fantasy running back the last 5 years is 25.1. Only 7 of the 75 running backs were 29 or older to begin the season. Christian McCaffrey's 29 or older. Joe Mixon, James Conner, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley's 28, coming off the highest touch count we've seen in the league since DeMarco Murray.
Yep.
And he obviously wasn't very good the year later. So that's kind of the battle we have at the top of drafts. So you go with a McCaffrey or a Barkley, or do you go with some of these younger guys?
Felt like last year we saw a bunch of these old running backs kind of outdo Father Time based on the expectation of what you're talking about.
Yeah, some of over half of the exceptions of over the last 5 years were last season, including Derrick Henry.
Okay. So do you think this last year was a sort of a trend, or do you think last year was just the outlier?
No, I think it's probably an outlier. Okay. I think some of it maybe is just we had a really good core of running backs in the league, like Aaron Jones and Kamara and Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, and they're nearing the end, but they're so good that they're just kind of hanging on a little longer. But once they go,
spots too, like that's part of it as well. Like we look, if we're watching right now, there's a full screen that has 4 running backs that really performed above age expectation last year. Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Aaron Jones, who are all top 14 running backs last year, with Henry all the way up at RB4. Like, Henry, to me, feels far less vulnerable than some of the other guys on this list. Like, Alvin Kamara makes me way more nervous, not to begin the season, but like midway through the season or down the stretch of the season.
Yep.
It's like, I said this yesterday, and you guys seem to agree. Like, does the Saints team inspire much confidence whatsoever?
No, it doesn't. Like, I have major concerns.
Yeah, so not to the point that you're fading these players. I just think that it's important to note that part of roster management during the season is being willing to get ahead of things a little bit. And if Kamara comes out red hot, like sort of where he was at the beginning of last season, as difficult as it would be, and there would be some risk in selling high, sometimes selling high or selling early can be a very, very valuable strategy. We, of course, will talk about players that maybe fit that category as we get to the beginning of the season if somebody comes out and is just unbelievably good.
Can I ask you then, Mike, if we're talking about older running backs and just being wary of them, and you said so many of that, where the top guys finished and their age, are there a bunch of young guys that you feel like you're targeting in this year's draft because of that?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So last year, a couple of the older guys hung on and were okay. They had their issues. Kamara's late, slow finish. Joe Mixon obviously missed a bunch of time with injury. You can go on and on. But the young guys, for the most part, like if you're looking, I want this young guy, I'm going to just focus on the young breakout running backs. It worked out pretty well. I mean, Breece Hall was an obvious exception, but Bijan Robinson worked out. Kyron Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, James Cook, Devon Achane. I didn't like him last year, but I was wrong on that one. He was terrific as well. But this year you can have Bucky Irving, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, Breece Hall. They're all 25 or younger running backs, not to mention all the rookies that we just talked about.
Heavy rookie running back class.
I mean, you can just say, look, I'm out on all these guys. You can add Henry to that list if you want. All the older guys I missed. You can pass on all them and still come away with a pretty darn good group. And history has been pretty kind to these young running backs as well, especially last year. So I think you can go either way on this one.
When you look at that, Mike, you kind of talked a little bit about the strategy at the running back spot while you're going through this article. Definitely this is worth a read. I promise it doesn't actually take 45 minutes. It's a really good read. But one of the things that you talked about was one of the things that you talked about was the potential to either do maybe a hero running back or a zero running back build, because if you decide to wait, these young guys, based on where their ADP is at, you could grab two of them, like you just mentioned, an RJ Harvey or someone else a little bit farther down that list, a Travion Henderson, a Caleb Johnson. Do you have a strategy that when you're going into this draft this year that are you trying to get one of those top running backs, or do you like the idea of, because you're trying to target some of those younger guys and their ADP is farther in the draft, do you employ a zero RB strategy more often than not?
It's funny. This is one of the hardest years to answer this question, and I was just working on my ultimate draft guide, which will come out next week for during the marathon, which is where I say my favorite targets each round. And like last year, Bijan Robinson, that's a guy I wanted in the first round no matter what. And this year, I that's who I would love to get, but that's the first or second overall pick to get him.
Sure.
Otherwise, if you pick in the middle of the round, you're probably taking a wide receiver this year. That's really where the heart of that position is. We'll get to those in a second. So I had a hard time picking someone for that first round because it just depends where you are. ADP is not leaning toward one position. It's 6 running backs and 6 receivers. So it just kind of depends where you are in the draft. So I don't have a clear answer for you, but the fact is it depends who the best player is on the board when I'm picking in the first round. I'm going to take that guy, and then round 2, I'm going to do the same thing, and then I'm just going to see where I am in the draft. And if I don't need to attack, 4th, 5th, 6th round running backs, fine. If I do, because I went receiver heavy and took Brock Bowers or whatever it may be, then I'll go that direction and take some chances on these younger running backs. So again, that's kind of a cop-out answer.
No,
but
it's not.
I think you just have to go with the flow. You can't. Who'd you get at 10 yesterday? CeeDee Lamb.
That was ridiculous.
You can't force a running back. You can't say I need a running back, I'm taking Derrick Henry. If CeeDee Lamb's sitting there, you have to be ready to follow the board and take the values.
Can I ask 2 questions again?
Sure.
I get 2 per segment.
There you go.
Does that work? First of all, how important is a third running back right away for you? Let's just say you get, I'm making this up, Ashton Genty round 1, Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs round 2. How valuable does that third running back for you become? Right, do you always feel like you need to have 3 good ones to come out of a draft?
No, I don't think so. If one is jumping out at me, sometimes I'll even take one for my flex if they're really standing out. I mean, we agree.
Types,
Yeah, we agree that we generally want a receiver in the flex. You're just going to get more points out of that. But if there's a running back that's plummeting, you're like, I'm going to get more out of that guy because he fell too far. I'm going to pounce on him. Not to mention, like you said, you get that depth for the running back position. So it kind of, again, copping out, but depends on the flow of the draft. But I don't force it. If there's a good receiver there and I can fill out my flex that way, I'm not going to force it just to have running back depth.
Mike copping out Clay has a nice ring to it, just for the record.
I have so many nicknames. So
Second question. I know I've got a list somewhere. Don't worry. It's in my Excel sheet. Other question is, you didn't like that one.
No, I don't care. Okay.
Second one is, so we talk about insurance running backs sometimes. Guys like Zach Charbonnet, Jordan Mason, amongst others. Do you feel as though they are worthwhile investments if you don't have that starting running back on your roster?
If you don't have that starting running back.
Right, so if you don't have Aaron Jones, would you still consider adding Jordan Mason?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think that's perhaps the better way to win a championship. I mean, having your own insurance running backs might help you make the playoffs, but if you have let's say Zach Charbonnet or Trey Benson sitting there and you don't have the starter and you do, let's say you have James Conner and he goes down and I have Trey Benson, my team just got a lot better. Your team just got a lot worse and now I have a much better edge. So there are no doubts. Often,
why isn't my team? Why couldn't you say Fields' team, Ed? I mean, Field had such a good draft. We are like he's on cloud 9 with all these drafts. Why don't you say he has the bad team?
There's a lot of field votes.
Yeah, we don't need a lot of field votes anymore. But you're saying you would rather have the insurance running back from someone else's squad than necessarily
definitely.
yours.
You're playing to win the championship. And there's nothing wrong if it's a clear cut 1-2. I had a dynasty team years ago that had James Cook and Alex Madison, and I loved that. I felt it's great because if Cook was going to, Cook always missed random games, and Madison would be. What did I say?
James.
Oh, James, of course. Yeah. Dalvin Cook. It's funny how that changed in my head that quick. Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison. So for years, that was a great setup, but it's very rare to be in that situation where it's that clear cut. But yeah, I mean, if you have Connor and you want to take Benson and just feel good about that because he's at a good spot in the draft, that's fine. But I'm also not going to reach for insurance backs. But I do love those high upside insurance guys in the late rounds, regardless of who I have on my roster.
All right, just to put a bow on this all together, Mike, if you were going to take everything that you just said and put it into 1 or 2 sentences as a final takeaway, the running back position takeaway from Mike Clay is?
Yeah, I would say I feel great if I get one of these elite running backs in the first round. If I can get Robinson, I feel like I'm off and running. Then I can just relax. I don't have to force any running backs that I don't like. And if I fade the second one, that's fine with me. I'll get one later on in the draft. But if not, I'm just going to follow the board and find value. It can go wrong sometimes. I didn't love how yesterday's turned out with Mix. I waited a long time. The rest of my team was very good, but I waited too long. I ended up with Connor and Mixon. Didn't love that. So it's not going to work every time, but sometimes that's the way the board goes.
This is why we mock draft. Don't wait until your actual draft to be able to try to implement a strategy. Go in and do a couple of mock drafts and try to do, if you want to say, I want to grab this guy, see how it plays out when you're mocking to be able to know how you need to be able to pivot just in case the draft plays out in a way that you weren't planning.
And if it does, if you feel like, look, it like yesterday, it didn't go great, and I had, I still got, Brock Bowers, my loaded receiver.
Pass catcher.
It just means I'm going to have to work at running back. And if I keep working and I hit on a late flyer or something, my team's going to be in great shape. So don't panic if that happens. The worst thing you could do is be like, I'm in the 5th round. I don't have a running back because I've been following value. I have to panic and just start reaching on running backs. Don't do that, or you're just going to end up with a bad team.
I feel like you should be prepared to work after a week off in Miami. So you got a lot of life, a lot of gas in the tank.
No, I'm out of here today. I'm going away again. I can do 2 days with you guys, and I'm back out of here again.
Is that breaking news?
I don't think so.
I was going to say, I'm joking.
We have to live ever get invited to the cool stuff?
No, you guys might, but I don't. Let's move ahead.
Why did I bring that up?
Wide receivers, Mike Clay. Here's the thing about the wide receiver spot. I mean, I would love to know what you think, but it just feels like the position is absolutely loaded at the top.
I would say at the top, I wanted to ask you guys a question because when I am ranking these guys and kind of working on an overall ranking and kind of researching, where I want to attack receiver here and then go to running back and then receiver ideally, I feel like it is a little top heavy. I feel like there is a tier, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think that's like a clear top tier. And then it becomes a little bit more, a lot of guys bunched together and it's not, it's like a drop off to me. I don't know if you feel like
28% target share.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's borderline there and obviously Brian Thomas, but you could start picking these guys apart. Like Brian Thomas, for example,
Travis Hunter.
There's Travis Hunter, but also he was fine until the backup quarterback was under center. With Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas was not nearly as productive. So I'm just saying, like,
they don't like each other.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm saying.
We're starting
Breaking
something
news
right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So
offense gets Liam Cohen. I love that.
I just think there's like that clear like first round. Like those 6 guys I mentioned are all first round picks, and there's a reason they're first round picks. You have to spend that, but after that, it's like you can start picking these guys apart to a larger extent. I just feel like, and again, I'm getting a little picky, but those guys feel like a core 6, and then it feels like a tier down for me.
Interesting.
Vacation for 1 week and comes back. Hey, Brian Thomas Jr. He's okay.
All right, let's pick them all.
I don't know Drake London's name. You didn't even mention Ladd McConkey, one of our favorites this year.
I like him, but they're talking to Keenan Allen. I mean, does he sign there?
I hope
that's
not.
concerning. That would, I think probably too, and that makes me a little nervous as well. T. Higgins, he's missed a lot of time. Drake London has a new quarterback.
So I think I feel you, Mike, with the fact that there is a little bit of like there is a drop off. Like for as great as these players are in like individual skill and accomplishment, like the difference between, and I will include Brian Thomas Jr. and Nico Collins in that top conversation versus like a Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Mike Evans is to me pretty clearly and obviously different.
Agreed.
The big area, and I know you're going to talk about this, I'm sure, Mike, is that like you get to wide receiver 35 and you're like, I kind of like Rome Odunze. This guy could have like a legit breakout season. Meanwhile, running back 35 is like, I don't know, like
Ryan
a guy
Robinson,
who
Jalen Warren.
Oh, I was going to say like a guy who retired 8 years ago. You're like, wait, what? Like, how is, whatever, insert your random, how's Darren Sproles running back 35 again in rankings this year, right?
That's a good pull.
It just feels like the pathway or the chance of some of the guys that are ranked way low in wide receiver rankings getting to top 15 or 20 or 25 upside is way, way higher than the running backs.
Yeah, but
there's very few running back options that kind of excite me.
I hear you, and that might make you say, well, then I should just wait at wide receiver. But I do feel like getting one of those big six is appealing to me too. So I want to, I keep battling against myself here. Like I want to get a top running back in the first round, but I also want one of these top six receivers too, and that's why I'm just going to take whoever's highest on my board, regardless of position. But after that, I mean, after that, I just feel like they're all so close and lined up, and you can just say like, whenever I'm on the clock, I'm just going to take that top guy at receiver because it's just so progressive. And I don't know. It's a hard thing for me to explain because you're right. There's guys outside our top 30 or wide receiver 40 who could finish 15th.
Timeout. In case anybody is watching the stream and they just noticed me do something, have this strange reaction to something that you were saying. I got something in my eye. It was not. It wasn't like what the hell is Mike saying. It was just like I had like a piece of dust or something.
Oh no, he saw me. He caught me.
It was like
catching him rolling his eyes.
That's what it is.
He was like, "Oh, it was something
like,
in my eye."
I was like trying to clear it. It was weird. It was bizarre.
I've watched you do this though, Mike, in drafts that we've done before, where it's just like you just keep taking basically the best player that's available. And if that's a wide receiver, you're like, I want to load my team up with as much talent as I can. And if there's a position that you need to address after the draft, you have the entirety of the season to hit the waiver wire, work some trades. Like the team that you draft is not the team that you're going to finish the season with, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, that's something I challenge all of you out there. The next time you win a league championship, compare that team to the team you drafted. It's always substantially different. I remember at one time in an industry league that I won, I had 0 running backs on that team and then my lineup, on my roster, the championship week that I drafted, none. It was like Elijah McGuire was like one of my running backs. I think he was Jets. I can't even remember who else it was.
Wow.
Just complete disaster at running back and won the championship just by like working waivers all year long.
Maybe. There was that time last year on Fantasy Football Now, 10 a.m. Eastern time till 1 p.m. Eastern time.
ESPN 2.
The season on Sundays, no big deal, where perhaps fortunately, perhaps unfortunately, I drafted the greatest team I've ever had in fantasy football, and I'll never be able to recapture that magic.
Yeah, my team was good too. I'm still mad about that, by the way.
Didn't I beat you by like 40 points in the playoffs?
Probably, yeah. Okay. My team, I don't even want to talk about it.
Don't get me started.
I had Bowers, I had Jefferson, I had McLaurin, I had
Saquon,
I had
Marches,
Kamara,
Malik Neighbors,
and I was stacked.
Yeah.
I had the Drake London.
Sometimes
still mad about that.
You have those could have been years that you just like can't let go of.
Yeah.
I can't believe that team didn't bring home.
And then
the
there's other
championship.
teams, right, that it's a complete disaster and you somehow win the championship. You're like, I just manufactured this all year.
That was like a backdoor. You definitely didn't deserve that one, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask you
anyway,
Mike, in talking about younger running backs, the previous position, like there's someone that you want to target, obviously, looking at those young running backs and what they've been able to do. Is the wide receiver position similar, or do you feel like, we're looking more at like veterans in this? Spot?
So I think that there are some tricks to find, because we talk about how deep receiver is. So you need, I think, some principles and rules. And I kind of studied receivers that work out and some don't in the past to kind of help us work through all of these options we have at the position. So, I do my research. I come prepared. I find some, these stats for you guys. I bring knowledge. And because of that, the producers, wanted to set something up here for a new segment we're calling Check This Out.
Yo, check this out.
Check this out.
Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Yo, check this out.
It's time to check this out.
Yo, check this out.
Is that you on the beach in Miami? Is that what that final shot was?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. So we're gonna do
That
this
was
all
so
year.
good.
Apparently I say check this out a lot, so we're gonna
do.
check this out throughout the season.
Yeah, we are.
And I have a nugget for you guys. All right,
okay.
Because I did the research. I'm trying to help you guys draft better wide receivers. Over the past 5 seasons,
Okay.
86%. So this is 43 out of 50 receivers.
Okay.
At the top 50 receivers in fantasy points per game were selected in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft.
First 3 rounds
43
of
out
the
of
NFL
50.
draft. Okay.
Yeah. So think about that.
Yeah,
You know,
so
that
it's
that
like-
high value
Yeah.
pedigree, whatever you want to call it, the draft capital. You know, people often make fun of like GMs, like, oh, they missed on this player. They took Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. I don't know who would do something like that. But, you know, people will pick that apart. But the fact is these guys know what they're doing. Like those guys drafted on day 1 and 2 pan out. So 86% of the top 50 receivers were picked in the first 3 rounds of the
I
draft.
can
So,
guess the exceptions. Puka Nakua is an obvious one.
Yeah.
yes, Nakua's one.
Amon-Ra St. Brown was a 4th rounder.
Yep, that would be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't even know if I have them under. But there's one of them.
Was Nico a 3rd rounder?
Nico's a 3rd rounder.
Was
Yes,
he?
that's correct.
Yeah, he was. I can give you one if you want.
Yeah, give us one.
The only one that there's only one that was drafted in around 6 or 7,
saw-
which is really interesting. Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings.
Last year. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Pedigree matters.
That matters for sure. What else do I got here? Since 2000, 30 of 42 receivers who finished in the top 30 in fantasy points as a rookie repeated the next year. So again, rookies, you know, this applies to rookies as well. If they have a big season in year
They're
1,
going to be good the following
they're
year.
probably going to be very good the next season. However, if they're horrendous in year 1, they're probably not going to
gonna be
pan
good.
out.
You looked
I
directly
looked
at
at
me
the
when you said that.
exceptions. If you look at all the receivers, even the ones taken in rounds 1 through 3 who were not top 90 as rookies.
Can I guess one? Actually, Devontae Adams was okay as a rookie, but he like really blossomed.
Yeah, he was not.
Seasons.
Yeah, there was only, of all these guys, of all the ones that were worse than 90th as a rookie, only 5 ended up going on to have a top 30 season.
That
is
guy's one of them right
there.
behind me.
J-Mo.
And his was very unique. He was
Yes.
he had the major injury first, and then he was suspended. The other ones are Nelson Aguilar, Curtis Samuel, and Michael Ames, and DJ Chark. None ever had a top 10 fantasy season.
Wow, what
ever.
a list right there.
That's not a
So,
good list.
Yeah, I mean, those guys aren't, those are the ones that panned out after
Right.
having a bad rookie season. So if you're thinking about like, you know, even someone like A.D. Mitchell, like I'm just like, man, now I don't feel good about taking that post-hype flyer on him because
Sure, yeah.
what are the, I mean, even the best case scenarios are these guys who can't even get to the top 10. I mean, what's his ceiling now? So I think, you know, again, I don't want to go too into the data. I already did a little bit, but it's all in here. And there's just some ground rules for like which kind of guys you should target in the late rounds if you want to have hits at the wide receiver position.
Where does Marvin Harrison Jr. fall into that after his rookie
he's
season for
great.
you?
He's
Great
fine.
question.
Yeah, so he fits the bill of a guy who's okay. So Harrison, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Ladd McConkey were top 30 last year. Xavier Worthy was 33rd. And like I said, guys that finished top 35 as rookies, 30 out of 42 have delivered the same the next season. They've repeated. So Harrison, the bar was set so high for him that we feel like he disappointed, which he did relative to ADP. But
he
he
did.
still was, as far as rookie receivers go, he was still above average. I mean, he was. It's just the reality of this, reality
But
of the
no,
situation.
that's the problem is that no one is grading him relative to what you'd
Right,
expect out of
right,
a
right,
rookie
right.
receiver, right?
Yeah.
The reality, I think, for players and expectations is if you have, let's call it like top 20-ish overall hype, and you end up settling in as like position, like 20th at your own position during the course of that season, like it's just a flat-out disappointment. It just is.
Yeah.
Because assuming you play almost every game that year, which I don't think Marv missed any time. Maybe he had that concussion and missed one game last year. And assuming that, like, hey, you don't lose your good quarterback and replaced by, like, the worst quarterback in the league. So, yeah.
But at least
Interesting season.
statistically,
Yes,
he's
he's
fine.
got a chance,
He's
for
fine.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would not be shocking if he made a leap forward this season. But guys like A.D. Mitchell, Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Polk, Jermaine Burton, Malachi Corley, Roman Wilson, they were all top 3 round picks last year who were outside the top 90 as rookies. And there's only a few guys in league history that have panned out after that. So
how many of those guys will make the roster this year? Sounds
yeah,
like
a couple of these guys.
Malachi Corley and Jalen Polk are very much on ice.
Yeah, Burton will make it. There's good reports there, but Roman Wilson's had some good reports as well. But again,
Did Roman
it's
Wilson
tough.
have good reports because there's just not any other wide receivers practicing and he's the
Maybe.
only guy they can
Yeah.
talk about?
Sometimes there's positive reports on a player, and you're like, oh man, this guy can make an impact this season. But that might actually mean they're going to make the 53, not that they're going to play.
I made a
so-
dynasty trade for Roman Wilson. Like a day later, it was like Roman Wilson looks slow and
That's
unathletic. I was like, oh, nice job.
Nailed it. Yeah.
I think
Way
it was
to go.
for a 5th round pick or 4th.
Oh, there's
pick.
nothing wrong
So
with that.
It was
Nothing
just
wrong with that.
somebody else who had Roman Wilson was trying to clear a roster spot, and I was like, yeah, what the heck? Why?
And you mentioned Jermaine Burton, like Expectations I thought were a little bit higher with his rookie season. Vibes were just bad the whole season. With
Yeah,
Jermaine
Someone
Burton.
else can count on Jermaine Burton.
Yeah, they're better now. But I mean, again, in 12-team leagues, we're not really targeting most of these guys anyway. But the general story here is like, yes, you can buy into these guys that have big rookie seasons for sure. It's almost a cheat code. They will pan out. And if guys are really horrendous as rookies, even if they were early round picks, they're probably not going to be good.
So if you look at the wide receiver position as a whole, Mike, just to put a bow on it, like we've been doing, your main takeaway when you're targeting wide receivers is?
Yeah. So aside of the strategies I just laid out for finding sleepers, I think it's very much a kind of go with the flow of your draft position this year. I would love to get one of the top 6, but again, I want a running back too. So I'm just going to take the top guy on my board, whether it's Bijan or CeeDee Lamb or whoever's atop my board in the first round. And then after that, I'm just going to keep value chasing. I'm going to be, we've already talked about how I like a top tight end and a top quarterback this year. So the other 2 positions, I'm just chipping away the best guy available throughout.
If you this is more of a strategy question, I guess, but like if you decide to just follow top guy on your board and it happens to be 2 wide receivers, you don't get a running back that you want. Are you still thinking about targeting a quarterback or tight end early, knowing that you're passing again on that running back spot and you're okay waiting even deeper?
Yeah, and the reason for that is I do think the top guys at quarterback, who we already talked about, and tight ends, who we'll talk about in a second, give you a sizable edge this year.
Over the rest of the position.
I just think that they give you such an edge. Because, by the way, at that point in the draft, the top running backs that you feel great about are already dried up. Then you're more into the dead zone area or getting to the dead zone. And there's a lot of guys with major question marks, and at that point, you're throwing darts anyway.
Okay, let's talk about tight ends. Then Mike Clay close this thing out with some tight ends. If we got some time at the very end of this, we may take a couple of questions. It depends honestly on how long Mike Clay talks.
All right, well, we have a little time.
Yeah.
Moving on to the YouTube chat then.
Yeah, we can make this quick though. Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, and then I mean, really for me, it's this. I'll keep this super quick. I mean, last year, if you combine receivers and tight ends last year, Brock Bowers was 9th and Trey McBride 12th. I mean, those guys were elite options overall last year. I would love to get one of those 2 on my team. I think the best value overall at tight end this year is actually George Kittle, because you can get him, unless you're Daniel yesterday in the mock draft, you can get him a round or 2 later. Really love that value. And then if I miss there on those 3, I'll pounce on Sam Laporta if the value's right. After that, I don't really care at that point. There's just so many similar options. I can wait quite a while and take a tight end, like even a Njoku or an Ingram or someone like that.
Can we flash that graphic back one more time of the 2 tight ends?
I didn't even see it.
Are you going to look at the tattoo on his arm?
We got to work on my guy Trey McBride here. Awesome player. The photographer's got to crop out the pit sweat there.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's throw on a New Jersey. You know what I'm saying?
No, we can just fix that in post, right?
Is that do you think that might be a shadow, or do you think that's pit sweat?
Oh, that's pit sweat.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it.
Remind me not to show.
Well,
Daniel.
Yeah, but we're live right
getting
now.
nervous.
We're live. This is not a still graphic.
Someone who struggles with that a little bit. I don't
perspire?
Yeah, I do. Just from this pod. You
You're
guys
a
are putting me on
sweaty Betty, huh?
You keep asking me all these questions on the fly. I'm not prepared for them. I'm sweating through my shirt here.
Nothing wrong with it.
That's all right. I'm not. Look, that's my big off-season news. I'm 40 now.
Here's
I'm a
what I'll
man.
say. Yeah,
I'm
congratulations about that. Listen, if you get a little sweaty
thanks
after the
so
show, just use a little bit of Field and Shoulders, and you'll be able to dry and you'll be good
that's
to
right.
go, man.
That's what I need. Yeah.
That's right.
That anti-dandruff shampoo as well?
It is, yes.
Amazing. That's
Yes.
amazing.
It actually
It's
makes you
impressive
prettier the
technology.
more you use it. So,
All right. I need to get me some of that.
yeah, you and me both.
What's it like being a man?
It feels good. Feels like I am everyone's young now, and I'm in charge. You know what it is? Every year you get older, and I think people will be able to relate to this watching. You just care less about everyone, everyone else's opinions, right?
But now, like,
I
when
don't care.
you see a guy who looks younger than you, do you call him son? Hey, son.
What's up, kid?
Kid, yeah.
Yeah.
No, son is when you're a man.
Yeah.
Like people call. I mean, kids kind of used.
Yeah.
somewhat colloquially.
I don't know. My
That's
kids
fair.
call me bro, so I don't know.
Do they really?
Yeah, bro.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah,
That's what I have to look.
that's what
forward
kids
to.
do now. Oh yeah. Oh, you'll get there.
I
yeah.
try to call my
Like
son
you have
bro.
two
He
daughters,
is not
so-
having. I'll give him like a fist bump, and he's just like, "No, I'm not doing that with
Yeah,
you."
yeah. Kids are funny.
Yeah. All right. So then at the tight end spot, I do want to ask you this. You mentioned basically like I want to grab one of these guys, or maybe, if not him, then maybe Laporta, and if not him. Do you have a line where you're like, ideally, this is the end of my tight end tier that I want to leave. Yes,
Yeah,
I
think
can.
I just answered that.
3 guys?
4 probably.
Those 4 guys.
I can. By the way, I think I just want to say this super quick. I'm sure we'll talk about it more at some point this offseason. But Sam Laporta had that terrible start, but he was back to his prior year self for the most part.
He was banged up to start the season.
Yeah, and but he was back to normal. But sometimes that start we forget all about the rest of the season. He was fine, so I do feel good about him. Maybe T.J. Hawkinson there. I think Jordan Addison's probably looking at a multi-game suspension, which helps Hawkinson early in the season.
You're buying
a little
McCarthy,
bit.
right? So you might have to like that a little bit.
Surprised you're lower. So how low on Travis Kelce?
I have Kelsey at 6, so after Hawkinson. But I think he's just in that tier. Like,
that's the thing is like I think with Kelce, one of the things that's being overlooked as well is that like Marvin Harrison, when you're drafting him as a top 2-round player, it's super disappointing. If you get Marv in, I don't know, maybe like the 5th or 6th round this year, like the expectations are implicitly lower. I feel like that's where we're at right now with Travis Kelce as well, is that like, yeah, Travis Kelce is no longer worth a top 15 selection or maybe a top 20 selection. But if you're getting Travis Kelce 58th overall, like to me, that's a totally solid value. The guy had 97 catches last year.
Yeah. I mean, I do have him lower than that overall. I just, there was a chunk of the season, like right in the middle.
We get it.
Yeah. Like in the middle of the season, he had a bunch of good games in a row, a big boost in targets, but otherwise it wasn't really there. And it was a clear drop off. And this year now you have Rashee Rice once he's on the field, which I think, again, probably looking at a multi-game suspension. But Xavier Worthy really exploded late last season and became the number 1 target for Patrick Mahomes.
No,
Frankly, Kelce wasn't. Marquise Brown. I mean, you can go on and on.
Yeah, sure.
So
Travis Kelce had as many single-point games as he did double-digit point games last year.
Yeah,
That was
I don't
the
know.
point.
I don't think he's.
That's pretty popular amongst tight ends. I think Mike is being a hater because he thinks he's the best citizen from the state of Pennsylvania, and he
that what it
thinks
is?
Taylor Swift is overrated.
That's right. Yeah, when we were young kids at the Jersey Shore, we used to hold hands on the beach.
You and Tay-Tay?
Oh yeah, of course.
I'd
watch her play
were
the
you
guitar.
fodder for her songs?
Probably.
Is there an album written about you?
Probably.
I mean, whatever helps my brand, we'll go with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I like that.
I learned something new.
Pretty sure Dear John is about Mike. She just couldn't rhyme anything with Mike, so she
That's
decided
right. Yeah,
to do
there's
Dear
nothing
John.
that rhymes with that. So.
One of the things, I just want to say this. I know that Travis Kelce, how many targets or catches did you say he had last year?
97 catches.
Okay. Rashee Rice missed how much of the season?
A lot.
And Hollywood Brown missed most of the season, and Isaiah Pacheco sucked, and their efficiency at the running back spot was bad. It felt like that was kind of like the resurgence of Travis Kelce that we had seen previous in his career. I just wonder this year when Patrick Mahomes has a plethora of people to give the football to, how that's going to be different. But that can be baked into the idea that right now ADP is tight end 6, not tight end 2 like he had been.
Well, 2 things I would respond with is that, yes, it's important because you're getting him in like the 6th or 7th round. That helps. Maybe even the 8th round, depending on how your league is approaching that draft. But on top of that is it also takes a lot of the pressure off of Travis Kelce. There's going to be so many more players drawing attention away from him. And he's still like Patrick Mahomes' biggest safety blanket. Like Mahomes, when in doubt, is going to look for number 87.
Yeah, I think it's
Rashee Rice.
3 last year. That was Rashee Rice for sure. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Stuff right now.
I nailed it. I totally forgot what I was going to say now.
Okay.
But
You have him as tight end 6?
Oh, I know what I was going to say. He was featured in the touchdown regression articles too, because he actually was very unlucky in touchdowns last year. To your point, should score a few more
How
touchdowns.
dare you? Whose friend are you? Mine or his?
I'm only my own friend.
I don't care about anyone's opinion
Age
anymore.
40. I don't care.
All right, bro. Come on.
I'm a man.
Bro, come on.
All right, so then give me, Mike, just like the rest of the positions, your takeaway at the tight end spot is?
Yeah, ideally I want one of the big 2. I'll be okay settling for George Kittle. I'll be lesser okay settling for Sam Laporta. After that, I'm fine to wait and just focus on other positions.
Okay, and you just load up on good players at other positions until you have
Always
to take
good.
a tight end.
Draft good players is my strategy every year.
Yeah.
And
Dude, you are
sometimes it
innovative.
works.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Hashtag draft good players.
All right, let's dive into a couple of YouTube questions if you guys don't mind. We can dive into the chat here. Very first question from our mailbag today
Mind if I want to mind?
is... Oh,
Rob,
sorry,
looking
I
up
thought
at the
that was it.
monitor.
We were
Sorry.
waiting. Yeah, I was waiting for it to show
I
up
do
on the
that
monitor.
too.
Sorry, guys. This is from Jamar, probably Jamar Chase playing fantasy football. Is Brock Bowers worth spending an early second-round pick on? Let's assume it's a 10 to 12-team league, right?
Well, yeah, and let's talk through this then. So if it's a 10 or 12 team league and you're picking, let's just say 9th in either league, that would give you pick 9 and then pick 12.
Yep.
In a 12 team league, it would give you pick 9 and then it would again give you pick number, 16, right? You're not getting Brock Bowers in the 3rd round.
Nope.
So
Correct.
you have a choice you have to make, is that you either feel strongly enough about him that you do it now, or you're just bypassing him entirely. So, yeah, and I think two things. So, worthy of an early second-round pick, yes. I also believe as the league gets larger and larger, like if you play in a 16-team league, the edge you're gaining at both quarterback and tight end is so dramatic.
Agreed.
Not to make everything about leagues that we play in, but in the War Room League, which is a 16-team league that a lot of people talk about here at ESPN, I would bet that Brock Bowers goes end of round 1.
Yeah, I would not be shocked at all by that. I think the problem is if you're picking early in that second round, you're talking about Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas, maybe Amon Ra, like guys like that. And I have him a little bit lower than that. Some of it's positional scarcity. Some of it is that I think the best value at tight end, again, the best overall value is George Kittle. So I say I would not do it. There he is. But I also don't have I don't have anything against it either. Right. I really don't. If you want to take him at 16 or whatever, or 12, 14, I think it could definitely work out.
Shout out to Rita Oak for getting us this. For what it's worth, the rest of the tight ends on that list, Mike doesn't really like. TJ Hawkinson, maybe, but Mark Andrews. Hey, we didn't even talk about Mark Andrews. Can you believe that's where we're at on Mark Andrews now? By the way, he's not 35 or 36 like Travis Kelce. He's 29 years old.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that this may be his last year with Baltimore. I'd be kind of surprised. I think Isaiah Likely maybe the future there, but also Likely might miss a game or two, and that would help Andrews early in the season. But did you see, and again, I referenced this in that NFL piece I have coming out. I'll keep this super quick, but they, I think it's Jeremy Fowler does that thing where he interviews all the GMs and coaches and everything, and they kind of rank each position. Awesome series. Very just kind of get a good feel for where the league's head is at on players. They were both top 8 tight ends in the entire NFL. Likely and Andrews were in the top 8. I could not believe Likely was 8th.
Yeah.
That's how the league views him. So I don't know if Baltimore is going to be able to re-sign him. If he hits the open market, he might get a big payday. So I'm kind of curious to see what the plan is for them. But it sounds like all the tea leaves suggest he's going to play a role. Not to mention they brought in DeAndre Hopkins to go with Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. There's a lot of mouths to feed. And Andrews is perhaps the poster boy for touchdown regression this year. Dude. His touchdown rate last year was triple his career rate. He just cannot keep that up. The targets dropped considerably. So he's not a guy I'm targeting.
Yeah, Brenton Strange.
Yes.
That's just
it was very strange.
No, sorry. I was saying Brenton Strange.
Oh, Brenton Strange.
Like, it's very hard for me to find a late round tight end target that I sort of am intrigued by. He's on my list.
Is that right?
He is my list.
I thought him coming into the league was more of like a blocking tight end. I never thought he'd have much of a ceiling. But do you think he could be like
I think he could be a decent pass catcher. Yeah.
You think so? Like a Jake Ferguson type statistical producer, like a back end tight end one.
That's comfy.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. There's just a lot of guys like that. That's kind of the problem.
Liam Cohen talking up the idea about playing Travis Hunter even more on offense.
No, I didn't see that.
Get nervous?
No.
Told Rich Eisen.
I mean, that'll change some things if I know that's going to be a thing.
I don't know. I'm at 34 in him, and I was thinking about that question yesterday because you had talked about it. I'm like, I don't know if I could move him up much further and feel good about it. I mean, there are so many. I mean, 34 is just outside. I mean, there's one number one on each team. That's already 32 receivers. I mean, he's basically right in that conversation. So I'm comfortable with where I have him.
And I'm comfortable having him higher than
I'm sure we will have
Where do you have him?
million questions about Travis Hunter.
Top 25.
We'll dive into that. Wow.
Top 25.
All right, we got one more question. We may have another one. We'll see how long this takes, but this one comes from Jay Green. Are you taking Alvin Kamara or Omarion Hampton this season? Yeah?
I have them very close. Same tier. My instincts say Hampton.
You just default to the youth because of the things that you talked about?
Yes. Who has a better chance to establish himself and remain a top 10 running back for the full season?
For the full season. I have a hard time arguing with you. It's just Kamara keeps doing it. And he's not like overly expensive, but that team is in a rough shape. But he also doesn't have a lot of competition. He's one of the tough ones I've been back and forth on.
We mentioned this when we were talking about running backs that I thought it was a really good point. I think you made it. If not, I made it. And I just said it's a really good point. I'm really sorry. But the idea that Alvin Kamara, with the age that he is, the team is not good. If you get to the end of the season and it's like, you know what? We're just going to shut him down for next year. Like, I think there's a bigger chance that you shut down a veteran like that than you would a rookie like Omarion Hampton, because I expect the Chargers to be in the playoff hunt. I don't expect the Saints to be in a playoff hunt at the end of the year. Kamara, if there's anything about him being banged up and just wanting to save his body, I could just see the Saints shutting him down.
It's a strong quarterback class. We'll never get to the NBA where it's like all of a sudden you'll open up like the Utah Jazz injury report and it'll be like 9 of the 15 players on their roster all have a tooth injury. How's that possible?
That's amazing.
What is going on here, right? But yes, I wouldn't be surprised if some teams are judicious with how they utilize players late in the season.
Can we just go back to the days when Pop would just list Tim Duncan as old and that was just okay?
Who cared? Right?
I wish we could just do that. That was a guy that was over 40 that didn't care what anyone thought.
Yeah.
All right, let's do another question here from our YouTube chat. Next one up we have is from Matthias. And that says, which 49ers wide receiver is the one to target? Are you going after Juwan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall?
Pro move right there by Daniel, by the way. He saw Matthias, and then he saw the last name, and he paused, and he was like, I will probably screw that up. So
Just
I'm not
keep
even
on moving.
I'm going to go with Anaya was the last
It looked like Anaya.
pronunciation.
Yeah.
So Matthias, if I screwed that up, I apologize.
It's on field.
A lot of recent hype for Ricky Pearsall, in part because Juwan Jennings has been hurt.
Yep.
Juwan Jennings obviously has a far more established track record, even if he does not have a full season of dominating as a wide receiver for the 49ers. To me, it's pretty close. I think Juwan Jennings is just a hashtag good football player, so I have him ranked a little higher than Pearsall.
Yeah, I think they're 2 rounds apart in ADP, so Pearsall is maybe the slightly better value, but Jennings has also done it at the NFL level, so I think he's probably the
Don't you guys pay
slightly
attention
better
to
target.
numbers? Wide receivers drafted in the first round versus wide receivers drafted in the 6th round. I just learned I'd rather have the first round wide receiver. I've been on Pearsall this entire time, although I have them back to back for what it's worth. It's not like I love Ricky Pearsall that much more than Juwan Jennings, but I would go with Ricky Pearsall, what he did as a first round rookie last year, 3 games with at least 17 fantasy points, in spite of the fact that he was shot and missed a bunch of games to start the season. I believe that, again, with the lack of pass catchers there, both these guys, honestly, are going to be pretty well involved, and I think their ADP right now is probably close to outside the top 40, 45 maybe.
Yeah, 7th round for Jennings, 9th for Pearsall in 12-team leagues.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you're getting good value regardless of where you grab either one of those two. I would take Pearsall, though. You guys want to do a board bet? Do you feel strongly about this? Or do you not feel strongly between these two?
I think Jennings straight up. I'm just saying Pearsall is going later, so he's
you
better
like
value.
I mean, I'm good with the content side of the board bet of Jennings versus Pearsall.
Well,
I think we need to, not to throw this conversation off the rails, but
all right.
we got to figure out board bets a little more this year. Like, I don't know how we integrate them a little bit more, but I feel like, and I'm certainly in part, if not largely, guilty for doing this. Where like we make a board bet and then it's just there, it's just floating.
Mm-hmm. We'll have a board. I think we're going to bring back more this year to be able to see. But also, I thought the way that we did it last year.
Yeah.
Like, I think that we bring up board bets whenever Mike loses, and whenever you or I lose, we just sort of let it go.
So the same as last year then.
That's pretty similar.
Yes. Or there's like repercussions for losing a board.
Yes,
Not
I
just
love
like
that.
A tick on the board. It's like, oh, Mike lost a board bet last week. He has to drink an entire bottle of hot sauce.
I'm down with that. A half a gallon of milk.
I mean, one of
here
us
live
handled
on
the
show.
hot sauce fine last year. I don't.
Are we
see the
bringing
issue.
back hot takes this year, my friends?
No, not when I'm here.
I don't know. I've heard the
Fields
crowd
off.
is asking for it.
Fields calling off pre-sick that day.
Hey, make sure you go check out Mike Clay's Playbook.
My
Unbelievable
stomach just
article.
Bubble guts.
Not feeling it. It was a really good article. Go check that out. There's going to be 2 more versions of it coming out a little bit later on this month. You want to read both of those as well, but that's going to do it for us today. The 3 of us will be back tomorrow again.
Wednesday and
then
Wednesday
from
the
Mike.
city.
That's right. So it'll be a ton of fun. Don't forget to love each other, be kind to yourself, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.